Hello and welcome to the Titan 1M building block tutorial. This is based on the Titans of CNC building block series, just updated to the latest version of Fusion 360 and with a few changes for the classes that you're taking right now. If you want to see the original content by the original creator, Titans of CNC, you can Google them, and there'll also be a link in the description below. So on our screen now we have our print, and you have a paper copy of this given to you by your teacher. And on the print, this is sheet 1 of 3 from Titans of CNC, and it shows the part that we are going to create. And sheet 1 is the first step. It gives us an overall length and width and thickness of our part, which is a simple box or rectangle in this case. There's some information that you're going to want to take notice within the title block here, and specifically in the notes, and we'll have a look at that right now. So here down in the notes section, it tells us that we need to make sure we remove all the burrs and break all the edges with a 0.010 or 10 thousandths chamfer, unless otherwise specified. All radiuses will be filleted but not exceeding 20 thou, and the part will be free of oil, dirt, chips, rust, scale, etc. So before we begin, we're going to create a new component. We always create a new component. We never do it out of just the main root, which is this one right here. So we're going to call it Titan 1M. Now, when we have only one object that we're drawing, it is not a big deal, but when we do multiple objects in a single drawing, it's important to have them in each component. So we're going to click on the arrow here and expand it. We have our origin, and we have our 3 planes, top, bottom, front, back, left, right, that we're going to need to select from. So to begin, we're going to create a new sketch, and we're going to select the top or bottom plane depending on which way you're looking at it. It's going to snap into this position, and let's begin. So if we look at our first drawing, we can see that we need a rectangle. So I'm going to grab our 2-point rectangle. I'm going to click at the origin, just snap to it. That's what that box, little square box, shows up. And I'm going to draw it out. And the page wants us to add some dimensions, 1.9 inches. I'm going to hit tab and 4.0. And now we have a constrained, all the lines are black, which means that that is the size it's set in connection to the origin. We could turn off our origin just to make things a little bit easier. Next, we need to create or turn this into a solid. So I'm going to hit finish sketch. So now we're going to extrude it and make it into a solid -0.75 and hit enter. Now we have a solid object. Last thing we need to do is put a fillet on each corner. Our sheet says a 4 times radius of 0.01 or 10 thou. So I'm going to come up here to fillet. I'm going to click the 4 corners, and I can select through and 0.01. Enter. And that completes everything on the first sheet. Let's save it. Hit OK. Alright, time for sheet number 2. On sheet 2, we are going to be putting in a number of holes that are threaded to 10-30 seconds. To begin, we're going to create a sketch on the top plane, or the top surface, and we're going to place our holes. So we're going to create another sketch. We already have one sketch here. This is our main shape. We're going to create a second sketch, and we're going to place it on top. You could just do it all on sketch 1, but I like to keep it simple and keep them separated. Like to create a second sketch. So we have our surface now. What we're going to do is we're going to create some points. Create point, and we're going to just place the points roughly where they are in the drawing, just because we are going to dimension them afterwards. Alright, now that we've placed our points, we're going to position those points accurately. There's two ways we can do that. We can use the dimension tool and specify numbers. And once we've specified enough dimensions, we can also use our constraints using our horizontal and vertical constraint, which will line up points horizontally or vertically to another. But we need to have that particular point in position in both directions, x and y, before we can use the constraint. So to start, hit D for dimension, or you can click up here. We want to make sure we grab the origin and not accidentally, if we zoom in, we don't want to accidentally grab this point or this point. So keep that in mind when you are, so you should be able to tell if it's directly in the center of the hole. So directly in the center of the origin, correction. So I'm going to click at the origin, I'm going to click on my point, I'm going to drag it up to about there, 0.15. So we're going to go left to right and then top to bottom. So again, point, and we are 1.15, point 2, origin, point 2.85, point 3.85. Now that we've got those all in the correct X, what I'll do now is I will come over here and I'll do it in the other direction. 0.15, 0.3, 1.216, 0.3, and 0.15. Alright, so we position those. The points are now black, which means they're perfectly positioned within the workspace. Now what we can do is we can use horizontal and vertical here and there, and you can see it moves it over. And what you will notice is that it only adjusts left to right. This is still too far. It needs to be the same. So again, select the origin, select the point, drag it out, 1.75, same thing, 1.75. Now all our points are black, exactly as they should be. So we're going to finish our sketch, and we're going to carry on with the next step. Now that we've got our points placed, now it's time to put our holes. So we're going to go to Create menu, and we're going to click on the hole function. And it's going to give us this window. It's going to ask us to select the face or sketch points, distance, and our hole type to start. So we're going to use a simple hole, we're going to use tapped, and we're going to use a drill point. So we're going to start clicking our points, and sometimes it'll show giant holes that look like they're destroying your piece. Don't worry about it, because once we specify the size, then everything's going to be fine. So we're going to come down here to thread type. we're going to select number 10, and the thread calls for 10-30 seconds, so we're going to select 10-30 seconds. Class 2B, right hand, and modeled. And the reason why I want to have model checked is it will actually physically model the threads. That way we could 3D print this and the threads will be there. And we want a depth of 0.5. So for depth, we're going to type in 0.5. And we're going to hit enter. And we have our holes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 threaded holes that go right down to the bottom. And that completes sheet 2. Now on to sheet 3. We're going to create the internal pocket here. So to start, we're going to create a sketch and we're going to place it on top. This is our third sketch. We're going to type in O for offset and click on the outside line. We're going to drag it in. We can see that it goes negative. Our sheet says it needs to be 0.3, so type negative 0.3 and hit enter. We need to create the radius around each of these holes. So we're going to go up to our center, create a circle, center circle. We're going to select the center. We're going to drag it out. And the radius is 0.313. But that is the radius, so we want 0.313. We want the diameter, so times 2. I'm going to hit C for circle. Use your shortcuts, they're good. 0.313 times 2. Enter. And we need one more down here. And this one is a different radius, 0.188. 0.188 times 2. Because again, we want 0.188 is a radius. We need a full circle. Hit enter. So next, we need the two lines that are coming down in this direction here. So we're going to hit L for line, or you could click on it up here. And I'm going to just zoom in on the model here. You'll see how the X shows up when I have it on the line. I'm going to click and hold. When you click and hold and drag it out, it attaches it, but it attaches it tangent. How cool is that? So we're just going to drag this down roughly. I'm going to place it, I can drag it over and try and place it exactly 45, which sure that works, but I'm going to do the same thing on this side. We can easily just drag it out and then hit D for dimension. Click our line here, click our line here, drag it out, 45, enter. Perfect 45, it's turned black because it's been perfectly aligned, constrained. And see, we didn't actually get 45, we got 44.997592. We want it to be perfect, 45. Alright, now we need to make the pocket that shows up here. So we're just going to hit O for offset, click our line, drag it down. It's a negative, so we're going to do negative, and it is a thickness of 0.3, just like everything else. Enter. Same thing over here. Drag it down. This time it's in the positive, 0.3. Hit enter. So before we close this window, let's do a little bit of housekeeping. Let's zoom in, and we're going to go up here to modify, click on the scissors, trim, or hit T, and we're just going to click these things away. We don't want those, we don't want that. Okay, we could, tidy that up a little bit too. And then we're going to hit finish sketch, because now it is time to do an extrusion. So we're going to click on extrude. We're going to click these 3 places, and we're going to pull it down, negative 0.5. And there we have it. So the only thing left to do is put in some fillets and knock off some corners. So let's start with the fillets. So I'm going to click on my fillet tool, and I'm going to select these portions of the model. Can select through, but sometimes it's easy to just move the model around. What you'll notice is that I've only selected 10 in this box here, 10 edges. There is more. We're going to select this one, and this one, but I want to show you how you fix that if you forget. So to begin, I'm going to type in a radius of 0.195 and hit enter. So it looks good, but as I just said, I forgot these three. 1, 2, 3. So to fix that, we can go back to our history here. This is everything we've done so far. We can move this all the way back to the beginning and hit play and watch our model be created. This is all the steps we did. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the fillet, hit edit feature. I'm going to hold down control and I'm going to select the ones that I forgot. And then hit enter. And there we go. Last but not least, our plans. If you look in the notes, it says, unless otherwise specified, remove all burrs and break edges 0.01. That is because after this part would be machined, all these edges would be sharp. So we're going to go modify, chamfer. We're going to click on the outer edge, the inner edge, the bottom edge, and we're going to grab this one here, 0.01. and knocks the edges off, looks a little bit cleaner and a lot prettier. Chances are this one might not get done just because it will be difficult to do on the machine without specialized tooling. And there you have it, the Titan 1M project completed. Going to hit save and hit OK. Now, something that you should do to keep yourself a little bit more organized, and what you can do is you can rename these sketches, which when you start getting a whole bunch, it's a good thing to do. So the first sketch, we could rename it. And you'll notice that there's no rename feature in when you right click. You just have to single click on it. And I'm going to put basic shape. Enter. You got to hit enter. The next one was our whole location. Whole locations. Enter. And our last one is pocket. And then that lets us know if we have to come back to this in a later date, we have an idea of what's going on and what they're for. All right. Now it's your turn. Thanks for watching.